Let me be honest with you for a moment. Most people know they should eat more vegetables. They've heard it 1,000 times, from their parents, from their doctors, from every health article they've ever scrolled past. And yet, the majority of us still aren't eating enough of them. Not because we don't care about our health, but because nobody ever sat down and really explained why certain vegetables are so extraordinary, what they actually do inside your body, and why some of them are so much more powerful than others. That changes today, because in this video, I'm going to walk you through the top 7 healthiest vegetables you must eat. Not just a generic list, but a deep, meaningful conversation about what these foods can do for your energy, your immune system, your heart, your gut, and even your mental clarity. I've spent years studying nutrition and human health, and I can tell you with complete confidence that what you put on your plate is one of the most powerful decisions you make every single day. So if you're ready to take your health seriously, and I mean really seriously, then stay with me, because what I'm about to share could genuinely change the way you think about food forever. Before we dive in, I want to ask you something, and I'd really love for you to answer in the comments below. Which vegetable do you eat the most right now? Just one, the one that shows up on your plate more than any other. Drop it down in the comments. I read them, and I'm genuinely curious, because your answer is going to tell me a lot about where you are on your health journey. And who knows, you might already be eating one of the top 7 without even realizing it. All right, let's get into it. Let's start with number 1. And this one might surprise you because it's humble, it's inexpensive, and it's sitting in almost every kitchen in the world. And yet, most people have no idea just how powerful it really is. I'm talking about spinach. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, yes, I know spinach is healthy, I want you to stay with me because I'm not just going to tell you that spinach has iron. I want to tell you what spinach actually does for your body when you eat it consistently, week after week, month after month. Spinach is one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the entire planet. That means for the number of calories it contains, which is almost nothing, by the way, it delivers an extraordinary amount of vitamins, minerals, and plant compounds that your body genuinely needs to function at its best. One of the most important nutrients in spinach is magnesium. Now, magnesium is something that an enormous percentage of people are quietly deficient in, and they don't even know it. When your magnesium levels are low, you feel it in your sleep, in your stress levels, in your energy, in your muscle recovery, and even in your mood. Magnesium is involved in over 300 biochemical reactions in your body. It helps regulate your blood sugar, it supports healthy blood pressure, it helps your muscles relax, and it plays a crucial role in producing energy at the cellular level. Spinach is one of the best food sources of magnesium you can eat. But that's not all. Spinach is rich in vitamin K, which is essential for bone health and for proper blood clotting. It contains folate, which is critical for DNA synthesis and cell repair. This is especially important for pregnant women, but honestly, every single adult benefits from adequate folate because our cells are constantly dividing and repairing themselves. Spinach also contains lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 powerful antioxidants that accumulate in your eyes and help protect your vision from damage caused by blue light and UV rays. As we spend more and more time staring at screens, the importance of these compounds cannot be overstated. And spinach contains vitamin C, beta-carotene, and a range of plant compounds called flavonoids that have been studied for their anti-inflammatory and potentially cancer-protective effects. Now, here's something I want to be clear about. I'm not telling you that spinach cures cancer or treats disease. What I'm telling you is that eating spinach regularly as part of a balanced diet gives your body the raw materials it needs to fight inflammation, repair damage, and function the way it was designed to. And that matters enormously for your long-term health. One of the easiest ways to get more spinach into your life is to add it raw to smoothies. You barely taste it, especially when combined with fruit, and your body absorbs a lot of its nutrients very effectively. You can also sauté it in a little olive oil with garlic, add it to soups and stews, or toss it into scrambled eggs. It wilts down dramatically when cooked, so what looks like a giant pile of raw spinach becomes a very manageable portion once it's in the pan. Now let's move to number 2. And this one is something I absolutely love talking about because it's one of the most researched vegetables in human history, and the science behind it is genuinely breathtaking. I'm talking about broccoli. And I know, broccoli has a bit of a reputation. A lot of people either love it or find it a bit boring. But give me a few minutes, because once you understand what broccoli is actually doing inside your body, you're going to look at it very differently. Broccoli belongs to a family of vegetables called cruciferous vegetables, and this family is special, really special. What makes cruciferous vegetables unique is that they contain compounds called glucosinolates, and when you chew or chop broccoli, these glucosinolates interact with an enzyme called myrosinase to produce a compound called sulforaphane. Now, sulforaphane has been the subject of hundreds of scientific studies over the past few decades. And what researchers have found is remarkable. Sulforaphane activates a pathway in your body called the NRF2 pathway, which essentially switches on your body's own internal antioxidant and detoxification systems. It helps your liver process and eliminate harmful substances more efficiently. It has potent anti-inflammatory properties, and it has been studied extensively for its potential role in cancer prevention, particularly in relation to certain types of cancer, like breast, prostate, colon, and lung cancer. Again, I want to be very clear. Broccoli is not a medicine, and I'm not telling you it will prevent cancer. But the research strongly suggests that people who eat more cruciferous vegetables have lower rates of certain cancers, and sulforaphane is a significant part of the reason why. Broccoli is also one of the best plant-based sources of vitamin C, which is critical for your immune system, your skin, and your ability to absorb iron from plant foods. It's high in fiber, which feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut and helps keep your digestive system running smoothly. It contains vitamin K for bone health, B vitamins for energy metabolism, and chromium, which helps regulate blood sugar. Here's a tip I always share. Don't overcook your broccoli. High heat for long periods destroys sulforaphane and degrades many of the water-soluble vitamins. The best way to prepare broccoli is to lightly steam it for about 4 to 5 minutes, or eat it raw with a dip. If you do cook it, try cutting it and letting it sit for a few minutes before cooking. This gives the myrosinase enzyme time to convert glucosinolates into sulforaphane before the heat deactivates the enzyme. Let's move to number 3, and this one is deeply underrated. Most people walk past it at the grocery store without giving it a second thought, but it is one of the most medicinally respected vegetables in human history. And modern science is now backing up what traditional medicine has known for thousands of years. I'm talking about garlic. Now, technically, garlic is often classified as an herb or a condiment, but it's a vegetable, and its health properties are so extraordinary that it absolutely belongs on this list. Garlic contains a sulfur compound called allicin, which is produced when garlic is crushed or chopped. Allicin is responsible for that sharp, pungent smell, and it's also responsible for a huge range of health benefits. Research has shown that garlic has significant antimicrobial properties. It can help your body fight certain bacterial and viral infections. It has been shown to reduce blood pressure in people with hypertension, in some studies performing comparably to blood pressure medications. It helps lower LDL cholesterol and triglycerides while increasing HDL cholesterol. In other words, it supports a healthier cholesterol profile, which is directly relevant to your heart disease risk. Garlic contains antioxidants that protect your cells from oxidative stress and damage, and some research suggests it may have neuroprotective effects, meaning it could help protect your brain as you age. There's also fascinating research on garlic and immune function. Regular garlic consumption has been associated with fewer and shorter colds. One study found that a daily garlic supplement reduced the incidence of the common cold by over 60%. These are remarkable numbers for something you can simply add to your food. To get the maximum benefit from garlic, let it sit for 10 minutes after crushing or chopping before you use it. This gives the allicin more time to form. Then add it toward the end of cooking, or use it raw in dressings and sauces. Even cooking it somewhat retains many of its beneficial compounds. 1 to 2 cloves a day is enough to start experiencing its benefits, and the easiest way to incorporate it is simply to add it to almost everything you cook. Number 4 on our list is one that I especially want you to pay attention to if you're concerned about your blood sugar, your heart health, or your weight. And it's a vegetable that is absolutely delicious, incredibly versatile, and available year-round in most parts of the world. I'm talking about sweet potatoes. Now, I want to address something immediately. Some people hear sweet potato and think it's too high in carbohydrates to be truly healthy. I want to gently but firmly push back on that, because the carbohydrates in sweet potatoes come packaged with an enormous amount of nutritional value that makes them one of the most wholesome foods you can eat. Sweet potatoes are one of the richest dietary sources of beta-carotene on the planet. Beta-carotene is a precursor to vitamin A. Your body converts it as needed, and vitamin A is absolutely essential for your immune system, your vision, your skin, and the health of your mucosal barriers, which are your body's first line of defense against pathogens. The deep orange color of sweet potatoes is a direct reflection of their beta-carotene content, and studies consistently show that people who eat more carotenoid-rich foods have lower rates of chronic disease and better overall health markers. Sweet potatoes are also rich in potassium, which works in opposition to sodium in your body to help regulate blood pressure. Most people get too much sodium and not nearly enough potassium, and this imbalance contributes significantly to hypertension. Eating potassium-rich foods like sweet potatoes is one of the most effective dietary strategies for managing blood pressure naturally. Sweet potatoes contain manganese, vitamin C, B vitamins, and a decent amount of fiber, including both soluble and insoluble fiber, which supports gut health, slows the absorption of sugar into your bloodstream, and helps you feel full and satisfied. Despite being naturally sweet, the glycemic impact of a whole sweet potato is actually moderate, especially when eaten with other foods containing fat and protein. Roast them, steam them, mash them. They're one of the most satisfying and nourishing foods you can build a meal around. Number 5 is one that I'm absolutely passionate about because it is wildly underappreciated, deeply researched, and transformatively good for your gut, which, as I'll explain, is connected to virtually every aspect of your health. I'm talking about kale. Now, kale had its moment in the spotlight a few years ago when it became a bit of a trendy superfood. And then some people started rolling their eyes at it. But here's the thing, the hype was actually justified. Kale is genuinely one of the most nutrient-dense foods that exists on Earth. Let's start with vitamin K. Kale is one of the absolute best sources of vitamin K1 you can eat. Vitamin K is essential for healthy blood clotting. But what a lot of people don't know is that vitamin K also plays a significant role in bone metabolism. It helps activate proteins that direct calcium into your bones where it belongs, rather than leaving it to deposit in your arteries where it causes harm. People who consume adequate vitamin K tend to have stronger bones and a lower risk of arterial calcification, which is directly related to cardiovascular health. 1 cup of cooked kale gives you many times the daily recommended intake of vitamin K. Kale is also extremely rich in vitamin C, actually more vitamin C per gram than an orange, which surprises a lot of people. It contains vitamin A in the form of beta-carotene, B vitamins, calcium, potassium, copper, and manganese. It contains quercetin and camphorol, two flavonoids that have been studied extensively for their anti-inflammatory, antiviral, antidepressant, and heart protective effects in laboratory and population studies. Kale also contains glucosinolates, like its cruciferous cousin broccoli, meaning it stimulates the same sulforaphane-producing pathways that support detoxification and cellular protection. One thing I always recommend with kale is to massage raw kale before eating it in salads. Simply drizzle a small amount of olive oil or lemon juice over the raw leaves and massage it with your hands for about a minute. This breaks down some of the tough cellular structure and makes the kale much more palatable and easier to digest. Alternatively, sauté it briefly, or add it to soups, stews, and grain bowls. It pairs beautifully with garlic, lemon, and olive oil, a combination that is not only delicious, but is delivering extraordinary nutritional benefit to your body every single time you eat it. Let's talk about number 6. And this one is something that an increasing amount of research is pointing to as one of the most important foods for your gut microbiome. And your gut microbiome, as science is increasingly confirming, is connected to your immune function, your mood, your cognitive performance, your weight, your skin, and even your sleep quality. I'm talking about beetroot. Beets are extraordinary. They are earthy, vibrant, and absolutely packed with compounds that do remarkable things inside your body. The first thing I want to tell you about beets is their nitrate content. Beetroot is one of the richest dietary sources of nitrates, and when you consume these nitrates, your body converts them into nitric oxide, a molecule that causes your blood vessels to relax and dilate. This effect has been so well documented that beet juice is now commonly used by athletes to enhance performance, endurance, and recovery. But the cardiovascular benefits extend far beyond athletic performance. Nitric oxide supports healthy blood flow to every tissue and organ in your body, helps reduce blood pressure, and promotes vascular health generally. For anyone concerned about heart health, incorporating beets regularly into your diet is a genuinely powerful strategy. Beets also contain a group of pigments called betalains, which are the compounds responsible for their deep red and purple color. Betalains are powerful antioxidants with notable anti-inflammatory properties, and they have been studied for their potential protective effects against certain chronic diseases. Beets contain folate, manganese, potassium, and vitamin C. They also contain a decent amount of fiber, supporting gut health and digestive regularity. And here's something fascinating. Beets contain compounds that support liver function and bile flow, which helps your body process and eliminate fats and toxins more efficiently. The liver is your primary detoxification organ, and supporting it with foods like beets is something I genuinely recommend to everyone. You can eat beets roasted, boiled, grated raw into salads, blended into smoothies, or drunk as juice. If you eat beets and notice that your urine turns pink or reddish, don't panic. This is completely harmless and is simply the betalain pigments passing through your system. It's actually a sign that you have relatively low stomach acid, and it's nothing to worry about at all. And now we arrive at number 7. And I want to save this one for last because in many ways, it's the most extraordinary one on the list. Not because it's flashier or more exotic than the others, but because it is so accessible, so versatile, so studied, and so consistently associated with better health outcomes across virtually every major health domain. I'm talking about carrots. I know what you might be thinking. Carrots? That's the big finish? But hear me out, because carrots deserve far more respect than they typically get. Carrots are perhaps the most well-known source of beta-carotene in the world, and the research on beta-carotene and human health is genuinely extensive and impressive. Beta-carotene is a precursor to vitamin A, and vitamin A is not a minor nutrient. It is absolutely foundational to your immune defenses, your vision, the integrity of your skin and mucosal tissues, reproductive health, and proper gene expression. People who eat diets consistently rich in beta-carotene have significantly lower rates of certain cancers, cardiovascular disease, and all-cause mortality, meaning death from any cause. These are not small effects. These are large, population-level patterns that have been replicated across countless studies in countries all around the world. But carrots offer more than just beta-carotene. They contain alpha-carotene, another carotenoid that has been specifically associated with longer life and lower cancer risk in several studies. They contain lutein and zeaxanthin for eye health. They contain polyacetylenes, a group of bioactive compounds that have been studied for anti-inflammatory and potentially anti-cancer properties. Carrots are a good source of vitamin K, vitamin C, potassium, and B vitamins. And they're one of the best sources of soluble fiber, specifically a type called pectin, which feeds beneficial gut bacteria, helps regulate cholesterol levels, and slows the absorption of sugar. Here's something I find fascinating about carrots that most people don't know. They're actually more nutritious cooked than raw, in terms of making their beta-carotene available to your body. Cooking breaks down the plant cell walls that encapsulate carotenoids, releasing them and making them more bioavailable. And when you eat cooked carrots with a source of fat, even a small amount of olive oil or butter, you dramatically increase your body's absorption of beta-carotene because carotenoids are fat-soluble nutrients. So roasting carrots in a little olive oil and seasoning is not just delicious. It is genuinely the most nutritionally effective way to prepare them. You can also eat carrots raw as a snack with hummus, which combines them with the healthy fats in tahini to enhance absorption. You can add them to soups, stews, stir-fries, and roasting pans. You can juice them or blend them into smoothies. They're sweet enough that children often love them, which makes them one of the best gateway vegetables for families trying to eat healthier. Now, before I wrap up, I want to tie everything together because I think there's something deeply important that goes beyond any individual vegetable on this list. What I really want you to take away from this conversation is not just a shopping list. I want you to feel something, a sense of empowerment. Because the truth is, your grocery store is full of extraordinary medicine. It doesn't look like medicine. It doesn't have a label with a long list of clinical claims. It's just food. Real, whole, colorful, beautiful food that your body has been optimized over hundreds of thousands of years of evolution to use, recognize, and thrive on. Every single one of these 7 vegetables, spinach, broccoli, garlic, sweet potatoes, kale, beetroot, and carrots, works together synergistically when they're part of your regular diet. You don't need to eat all 7 every single day, but if you can start rotating through them consistently, adding a couple of them to your meals each day, you are giving your body something profoundly powerful. You are reducing chronic inflammation, which is at the root of virtually every major chronic disease we face today, from heart disease to type 2 diabetes to Alzheimer's to cancer. You are feeding your gut microbiome the diverse, fiber-rich plant material it thrives on. You are flooding your cells with antioxidants and vitamins that protect your DNA, your mitochondria, and your organs from the damage that accumulates over decades of living. You are supporting healthy blood sugar, blood pressure, and cholesterol, the 3 pillars of cardiovascular health. And you are doing all of this not with expensive supplements or complicated protocols, but with food. Ordinary, affordable, beautiful food. I want to say one more thing before we finish, and it's something I say to everyone I work with because I think it's the most important mindset shift you can make. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to overhaul your entire diet overnight. You don't have to give up everything you love. What matters is progress. Consistent, sustainable, gentle progress in the direction of eating more of these extraordinary foods. Start with one. Just one. Pick the vegetable from this list that you find most appealing or most accessible, and commit to including it in your meals 3 or 4 times this week. That's it. That's the whole assignment. Because the person who eats a little more spinach every week and builds that habit into their life will, over time, experience real, meaningful improvements in how they feel, how they look, how they think, and how long and how well they live. And that is worth more than any crash diet or quick fix that promises the world and delivers very little. You have the power to change your health with your fork. Every meal is an opportunity. Every grocery run is a choice that either takes you closer to or further from the life you want to live. And I genuinely believe that if you're watching this video and you've made it this far, you are someone who cares. Someone who is motivated to make better choices, not just for yourself, but probably for the people around you too. That matters. Your health matters. And I am here, in your corner, giving you the best information I possibly can to help you live the fullest, healthiest, most vibrant life you're capable of living. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this video helped you, if it gave you even one thing to think about differently, or one small action you're going to take this week, please do me a favor and give it a thumbs up. It genuinely helps more people find this content and take better care of their health. Subscribe if you haven't already, because I put out videos like this regularly, and every single one is designed to give you real, honest, practical information that you can actually use. And please, leave me a comment below. Not just the vegetable you eat most right now, but also let me know, which of these 7 are you going to try adding to your diet this week? I read every comment and I will reply. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourself, because you are absolutely worth it.